Hi everyone, this is Marika from the Wyckoff Library Makerspace, and today we're going to talk about how to make a simple knit loom and how to use it. The supplies for this project are pretty straightforward. I'm just using popsicle sticks. I have two different sizes. The ones I'm using for the spokes are slightly smaller than the standard sized ones that I'm using for the body. If you only have one size, that's totally fine. The important thing is just to make sure that they're spaced evenly. Now I'm just gluing these down with ordinary white school glue. Anything that'll adhere to the wood would be fine though. You could do this with hot glue or tacky glue, whatever you have on hand. You'll notice that I'm gluing down the popsicle sticks that are on the ends first. I'm doing this so that way I can make sure that they're all spaced evenly. By doing the outsides first, I can make sure that the one that I'm putting in next is going to be centered. This is important because I want to make sure that I have enough room when I'm actually using the loom to knit with. You'll want about 1/2 inch of empty space between each popsicle stick. It's also a good idea to do this part on a non-porous surface or with something protecting your workspace. This is important because glue will seep in between the popsicle sticks that are forming the base. It's also a good idea to flip this over when it's about halfway done drying. For white glue, it's when it starts to get a little more translucent, so that way it doesn't stick to the surface you're working on. Once our glue is dry, we are almost ready to start knitting. There's one more preparatory step that we're going to do first. I'm using an emery board to sand down the edges of the popsicle sticks. I'm going to make sure that I do get both sides. And this is just going to make sure that the yarn doesn't snag on any burrs or splinters that are on the popsicle sticks themselves. You could also use sandpaper, but that's a little bit trickier to get into the small spaces. And now we're ready to knit. You're going to take the tail end of your skein and hold it against the base of the loom so your yarn doesn't slip, and then you're going to wrap the yarn around each spoke of the loom. Now, when you're ready to turn your row, all you're going to do is just loop it right back over that same spoke again and keep going. When you have 2 loops on each spoke, you're going to hold your yarn securely in the hand that is holding the loom, and then you're ready to form your stitches. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the first loop on the spoke and pull it right back over the top loop. This first row of stitches is going to be a little bit tight when you're taking it off your loom, but the more stitches you have built up, the easier it'll be. It's also important to make sure that you're giving yourself enough room on your spokes, so push your stitches back a little bit so they're about halfway or even further back up the popsicle sticks. Keep weaving your yarn onto the loom, and once again, when you have 2 loops on each spoke, you're going to pull the loop further in off of the spoke. Now, this is the same type of knitting that you would use on any kind of professional loom that you could buy at a craft store, but because it is on the small side, when your project is done, it is going to be a little bit narrower, which isn't a bad thing. I think that it actually gives you a lot of different opportunities for what you can do with that. You could make several and weave them together to make a scarf. You could use a cotton embroidery thread and use it to make a produce bag. Really, there's a lot of different possibilities, and I would love to see what you make. So post photos of your finished project in the comments. A great benefit to loom knitting is that it doesn't take long to start building up a substantial length. The time really does just fly with it. So get started and let me know what you make. I'd love to see your projects.